That was the one that got away. Ryan Rollins and the game. We're talking about it on today's show.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast.
What are they going to say now?
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I made them extra sloppy for you. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Locked On Warriors, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We come at you Monday through Friday, live after the games. You can check us out on YouTube, wherever you get your audio podcast. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for hitting that subscribe, and thank you for hitting that like button. It is very much appreciated. My name's Charlie Walter, host of this show. We got a three-man weave today. We got Mike Loganoff, the former Hooper himself, played at Colby College, played at St. Ignatius in the city, and we got Matt Kolsky, who you could hear on the radio at KNBR and 95.7 The Game. Now you hear him many days of the week on this program. 120-110, the final score. Milwaukee wins it. Now, two reasons why this is the one that got away. Let's start with the loss. Giannis Antetokounmpo does not play for Milwaukee. He's a late scratch. When Giannis is not on the Bucks, I don't care if it's a back-to-back. You expect to win that game. It wasn't a back-to-back. The Warriors don't win the game. And the other reason why it's the one that got away, former second-round pick Ryan Rollins dicing the Dubs up for 32. He was the best player on the floor, which is wild to say. Let's start with you, Kolsky. Your initial thoughts to a loss that was anything but pretty, 22 turnovers.
I'm going to engage in some creative fiction here. You were a producer for me back at 95.7, Chuck, and many times we did Warrior post game together. And, you know, after the game ends, you sort of hang out and talk about what you're going to do, maybe grab some sound, and Tim Roy does the scoreboard. Today, if we were doing post game, while Tim Roy did the scoreboard, your job would be to search the internet for a variety of like vomit and bathroom noises to play throughout the entirety of the post game, because that was terrible.
Yes.
That stank to high heaven. I vomit emoji all over the place. And here's the thing, man. Like the defense was bad all night. Weird Draymond game. It seemed early on like he might try to get himself ejected. Jimmy Butler, I guess it's a good Jimmy Butler game in a lot of ways, but it didn't feel like it for some reason. And then the two guys who you would say probably played the best, Steph and Kuminga, were just throwing the ball all over the damn place. Steph in particular, down the stretch, when maybe there was a chance to salvage this mess, Steph is just kicking the ball 6 ways from Sunday, and it's sort of all the things you don't want to see from the Warriors is what we saw tonight. Ryan Rollins, what are you going to say? I mean, the defense wasn't great, but he was, he was legitimately awesome tonight. He's a pretty good player, I think, as it turns out. And this game got away. You got to beat a Bucks team without Giannis, and I think a representative effort based on what they've done before this season would have gotten the job done rather easily, but they did not have that in them tonight.
Mike was boots on the ground at Chase Center for the first of the doubleheader against the Memphis Grizzlies. Said it was absolutely electric, had the time of his life. Took some pictures with Locked On fans in section 231. Anyways, not so joyous tonight in Milwaukee. That's a tough trip. You go cross country, you play in the central time zone against the Bucks. You find out game time where Giannis isn't there. Mike, take me into kind of the minds of the Warriors players there, because it did kind of feel like they had it together early. They put it together again in the third quarter, and then Milwaukee just kind of hit big shots, and the Warriors, they weren't composed, man.
Yeah, to build off Kolsky's points on the turnovers, it wasn't just the amount. I think it was when they happened in the flow of the game, right? Like I think about when Steph came off that curl screen and Draymond just threw it behind him. The Warriors are making a run. They don't convert, right? And then if you give shooters the opportunity to get hot, guys like Ryan Rollins, AJ Green was hitting threes, then those shots when they get another opportunity, when the Warriors don't grab the defensive rebound, they're going to knock it down. They're going to hit that second shot. And they hit some tough shots too. I mean, Al Horford, I remember there was a end of a possession, end of a shot clock. AJ Green, right wing, hits a little sidestep three right in Al's face. And those shots just did not go the Warriors' way. And when a team is shooting over 40% from three, and you just don't have that margin of error. You can't turn the ball over like that. And watching this game, it felt like games last season after the Warriors started off 12-1 or whatever it was. They're just turning the ball over. They're not capitalizing on opportunities. Draymond's contesting a deep Ryan Rollins three. The guys aren't going to wrap up the rebound and get on the fast break. So it was just so many missed opportunities and untimely turnovers. And it was something that, I was talking with Kerry yesterday on KMBR. He said, okay, well, what can the Warriors do better? And I said, turnovers. And, they have these lackadaisical turnovers, even going back to last game, Moses Moody trying to throw a behind the back pass to Draymond on a pick and pop like he's Steve Nash. It's just, what are you doing? And then you think about it and it's taking a step back. Those are the games when you have to build the good habits. And then you see a game like this, maybe hearing Giannis isn't playing, they kind of take their foot off the gas a little bit and think, oh, we can waltz in and take this. You're on the road. Milwaukee loves the Bucks. It's not an easy place to play. And if you're going to have guys like Ryan Rollins putting up 30, it's going to be tough to win on the road.
Straight up, who was it? Was it Steph or Draymond that I don't know what Jamarcus Russell that football pass into like?
Oh no, that was Pods.
At Draymond.
Oh, it was Pods. You're right.
Yeah,
it was Pods over Jimmy Butler's head.
I thought you were talking when Steph hit Draymond in the head and Draymond.
Oh, well, that was bad too. Draymond had to go in the locker room for God's sakes.
But concussion protocol. How many figures am I holding up?
Blue tent. Blue tent.
18.
These are the turnovers that, but honestly, Kuminga 5 turnovers is too many, obviously. But at least with him, it's attacking the basket and not being aware enough of the double team, and he gets stripped. The ones that drive me more nuts are the best players on the team. Steph, Draymond, not as much Jimmy, thank goodness. Just unnecessarily overcomplicating the game of basketball. And, most nights for the last decade, they've been good enough to get away with it. And it has led to some really bad habits that bite them on nights like tonight.
Yeah, it seems like the Warriors consistently over the last few years, they just have games like this, where I think last year it was against Denver, where Denver didn't have Jokic or Murray or Gordon, anyone. And a team with Christian Brown as like their sole dude beat Curry and Butler, Draymond, amidst like a 15 out of 17 winning streak. And then the Warriors, like either 2 days before or 2 days later, beat the Nuggets full strength. So this is kind of who they are. It's like a pick and choose your spots team, and you never know which version you're going to show up. But again, what you need is 4-2. This stanza 4-2. This part of the schedule 4-2. So again, great spot. But you'd love to be 5-1, and they had an opportunity tonight against the team that you have to think that they're better than when it's all said and done. Coming up on the show, speaking of picking spots, Al Horford. We already got the first message in the comments tonight saying Al Horford kind of stunk. We're going to debate that. We're going to talk about Al Horford's play that is straight ahead.
Who can stop Steph Curry?
Hopefully we'll never find out.
Today's episode is brought to you by Peloton. I was actually watching the game on NBA League Pass tonight. One of my favorite things about Peloton and League Pass is, one, you get to just hike up a mountain, basically, 12.5 incline while you're watching the Warriors struggle in a game. You're also struggling on the treadmill, but you're getting a little bit better. You can swivel the screen, and you can also do floor exercises. That is what the Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ, lets you do. It's their most advanced equipment yet. It's training reimagined. It's built for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan, stay motivated, and reach your peak performance. I love how their system offers real-time strength coaching. It tracks your reps, suggests the right weights, and corrects your form, making every rep safer and smarter. I told you about that swivel screen. So let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. Let's get back to the show.
Forget that. We champs. Why are you starting with that question? We got 4 championships.
All right, fellas, one of my favorite things, honestly, before we get into Al Horford, about watching these games on League Pass are I watch the Fitz and Kalina home broadcast, but my only option for the TV timeouts is I get the Bucks in-game arena, or I get the other team's in-game arena. And it's just electric when you have Draymond one scene going nuts and it flips over to, the host in the Alvin and the Chipmunks costume doing some contest on the floor. They actually had the Rim Rockets jumping on the trampolines doing dunks tonight, and I counted they went 3 of 8. They really struggled on those backflips, 360s. It was cool. They got air, but man, they really dropped the ball. So big fan of the League Pass, watching the games that way. Al Horford, though, what did we think of his play today? Let's start with you, Mike. Chat's coming in right now saying he looked slow. He looked a little flat-footed. He was bricking a few of his three-point opportunities that he had. We've heard this throughout the offseason, that in games that aren't necessarily quote unquote as big, you won't get the real Al Horford that you'll get guarding Jokic.
Yeah, I mean, Al was disappointing tonight. I think I'm looking at the stats here. I think he was minus 20, which led the team. Frankly, I mean, Al looked old out there today, and I think a product of that is the fact that the Bucks were playing with the smaller lineup across the board, right? I mean, they had a lot of times Taurean Prince was their second biggest guy out there. Taurean's most likely a small forward in most rotations. So they were playing a little bit more Warriors basketball, and we tried to go big with Al, and it didn't necessarily work out. I think he looked a little bit slow. He had a couple of blocks, which was nice to see. The Warriors have a little bit of size in the interior. But frankly, and I saw this in the chat too, I mean, I thought Quentin should have gotten a little bit more run. I thought he did well in that first stint. I thought he was contesting well. I thought he got some offensive rebounds. He brought that one down, but just having a true 7-footer in there to bang would have been great. And yeah, it just wasn't Al's game. And especially at this stage in his career, when you're getting those open looks, you have to knock him down or at least have it be a good shot. I mean, he was having some pretty bad, tough misses out there, looking like me coming into the Bay Club, warming up on a Saturday morning, just throwing up bricks and building the brick house. So I think if I'm comparing myself to Al Horford, Chuck, we're going to have a bad night.
Little Sandy Lyle from Crocodile Tears, little rain dance. Kolsky, your thoughts on Horford?
Yeah, he hasn't been great yet across the board.
He had a game. Was it Lakers? He showed up in one of the games.
I mean, he's Al Horford, for God's sakes, right? Like, no, he hasn't been abjectly terrible, but he hasn't been Al Horford that you hoped for when you signed the guy. He is 39 years old. I think we can forgive him a slow start. I think we can forgive him a slow season, provided he's prepared for the playoffs. I mean, I think that's what it really comes down to with Al Horford. So, yeah, he was pretty rough tonight, but that is not something I'm super worried about.
You're not worried about the fact that if he struggles all season, that he may just be old and not be ready for the playoffs?
No, because I don't think that's prohibitive for the Warriors. I would be a bummer. First of all, I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think Al Horford will show up and be Al Horford at some point. But that might not be till February. I don't know. And it might not really be till the postseason, because he's kind of that guy anyway. He's kind of always been that guy that, like, he'll do some things for you in the regular season. He'll have a couple games. He plays pretty good defense. He knocks down some threes, but he's going to hit big shots in the playoffs. He's going to make big defensive plays when it really matters. And that's why he's here, right? 16-game players. But I kind of think they have enough without him to do a lot. And I wonder if you don't just kind of look at him in a weird way like you do Buddy Hield, where it was pretty clear from the first 5 minutes of him on the floor tonight that Al Horford just wasn't really moving that well, didn't look great. So maybe it's a 5-minute night for Al on a night like tonight. Now, that's more complicated because he's sitting back-to-backs and blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. He's 39, and I hate to be the guy on the show that's always advocating less playing time for good players, but I continue to believe that the main concern this year is keeping everybody healthy and ready when it comes to winning time. So I'm less worried about Al Horford's slow start to the season and bad game tonight than I am about Ryan Rollins dropping an easy 30 on you, or Kuminga and Steph turning it over a combined 10 times.
Well, finally, one of my favorite topics on sports radio is dead. It's that Jonathan Kuminga won't get minutes from Steve Kerr. He doesn't like him. Kuminga got 34 minutes and well-deserved minutes. He was unbelievable all game, 24, but specifically to set the pace for the Warriors. I mean, he had the assist to Jimmy. Then he had great defense on Turner that led to a shot clock violation. He just kept making the right plays where, he wouldn't force things. He would drive and kick. It felt like the team earlier was making the right play consistently. You kind of, look down, wash the dishes for 30 seconds, look up, and next thing you know, the Warriors are down like 7 points. But I thought he went thunder and lightning a couple plays back to back, put someone in a little hesitation move, and then the burst and the finish, that's his lightning. And then next play with the thunder, just a little back down. Hey, I'm too big for you. I'm going to finish that way. He was hitting 3-pointers early. Mike, I mean, Kuminga, man, Moody and Podziemski, it still looks like there are going to be some inconsistencies, and you would have to imagine at some point Kuminga is going to come back down to earth and have a game that makes us say, what were you doing, JK? And sure, the turnovers, but in terms of just making the right play for the majority of it early, he was he looked really good to start the game.
Oh, he looked great. I mean, when he went down, it was really, concerning. When he got rolled up on there by Prince, I was worried that he wouldn't be able to come back in the game, because this is a situation when you have a team that's playing fast, where it would be great to have an athlete on the floor like Kuminga who can compete with them. And it's funny. I was actually, people, Chuck, they like to call me Mike Kerr, and, I'm Steve Kerr's agent, and, oh gosh, he just hates Kuminga, but I've been giving him his flowers all season long. And I'll give it to him again tonight. He played a really good game. I was even texting one of my buddies who's a big Dubs guy, and I said, I think we need JK back in the game. And if you would have told me I'd be saying that on October 30th, if you would have told me that last season, I would have laughed at you. But it's true. He's brought a really great dynamic, and he's just been more patient. It was a secondary break in the first quarter where I think maybe he found Steph again or Jimmy on a back cut, and just was setting guys up because he is being patient and playing within himself and playing within the system. And that's what's going to get him the burn. And there was that one turnover that he had in the third quarter where they were making a push that, it was one of those ones, but this is when, I'm nitpicking now and I'll acknowledge it, but where he drove into a double team and lost the ball. The Warriors are making a run. I think they were down 3 or 4 points at that stage in the game. And those are situations where if Jonathan then plays patient, you just scored in the past couple possessions, but let the game come to you again. Don't force it, because if you swing the ball around, then you're going to get that mismatch, and then you can go attack again. And so it's those like if he's able to turn the dial even further on those fine details, you're going to see him access a whole other level of his game. And if he does that, again, the Warriors are going to be a very, very scary team and a tough out in the Western Conference.
Kolsky, late in the game, there was a stretch there where the Warriors were down 11 with like 1:50 to go, and you texted me and just said, horrible loss, horrible. You were fuming. And about 5 minutes later, real time, the Warriors had cut it down to 7. They got the Kuminga post up where he was just too big, and they followed it up with some good pressure. Jimmy jumped the passing lane, took it the other way, layup at 7. They had a chance to cut it to 4 with a Steph Curry 3. He missed it. Felt like there were some opportunities tonight. I think Buddy may have had an opportunity to hit a big 3, hit one, missed another. Pods 2, Kuminga airballed one that would have been big. Like there were some opportunities to get back in it. It just felt like the Warriors could never really. It was that midway to end of the third quarter where they just were up by like 6 and then down by 9, and they'd fight back to 2 and then be down by 7 and then back to 2. What was it about this game that just didn't allow him to get over the hump?
It did just seem like kind of a, funky effort from the start. Sometimes you get that at the start of a road trip. I don't know how to explain these things, having never lived in an NBA locker room, but it did look off from the beginning. That said, we should also say that at almost every turn that you're talking about, right? The Warriors had an opportunity here and an opportunity there.
Milwaukee hit big shots.
Ryan Rollins made plays. It was either Ryan Rollins scoring, often in very difficult one-on-one matchups, or it was Ryan Rollins creating. Like the line on him is pretty absurd on the day. 32 points, 8 assists, 1 turnover. Like he kicked butt, man. He was really good.
5 of 7 from 3, Kolsky too.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's the best night of his career, but he looks like a guy who will have more nights like that the way he has played since the start of the season. And look, this team is desperate for a guard to step up and be a legitimate player. The Bucks are. So, I mean, they become an Eastern Conference threat if Ryan Rollins is closer to the guy we saw tonight than the guy he's been the last couple seasons,
All right, I want to tie a ribbon on the show coming up. You got one more comment, Mike?
Yeah, just one more thing on that too, Kolsky. It came to mind earlier. I think something else that the Bucks did today on the topic of guard play was they made the Warriors uncomfortable, right? They were pressuring the ball before half court, right after they got across half court. And what that does schematically is it ruins the spacing, right? Because then you're getting into action further away from the 3-point line. You're not getting it, into the split action, into that short post. And so it's just really, they applied pressure. And that's something, I talked about with Kerry regarding having Melton come back when he's healthy. Having another reliable ball handler out there from the guard position, I think is going to really help the Warriors because, Pods competes. He does his job as best he can. But like realistically, do we really want Moody coming off of a pick and trying to create off the bounce? You don't, right? And so having Melton, I think, will help us in these situations in the future.
Arguably, right now, Kuminga and Draymond are their second and third best ball handlers bringing the ball up the court, and that's not a great situation.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I wanted to put a little bow on that thread there, Chuck.
For sure. Yeah, when Kuminga's charging down the lane, man, he's a pretty good decision maker. The one issue is if he just had any sort, and I've said this for years, any sort of a float game or a pull up, he'd be top 5 best player of all time. But that's 7-footer, man. It's not good. And he doesn't.
It's a hard shot. It's a hard shot, and I will say, just overall, his non-dunk finishing has been a lot better this year.
Yeah, and that's big. And his threes have been better. I think he was like 10 of 21 when he hit his first one. I don't know what the final numbers were when it was all said and done, but
he was 2 of 4 tonight. Yep.
2 of 4. So, do the math. He's upwards near 50%. All right. When we come back, we'll tie a ribbon on the Warriors. I want to get into the association as a whole. An absurd Victor Wembanyama stat. Don't know what happened in the end of the Spurs game. We'll recap it live. We'll just talk about the association, about the Warriors, and what's up ahead. That's straight ahead on Locked On Dubs.
And most importantly, he a dog.
We need more dogs.
For a business owner, here's the truth. SaaS promised to make work easier, but now the average company is buried by hundreds of apps that slow your teams down and simply don't work together. That's not SaaS. That is SAD, software as a service. That's why you need Rippling. Rippling is the unified platform for global HR, payroll, IT, and finance, all in one place. They've helped millions of businesses replace a mess of disconnected tools with one system designed to give leaders clarity, speed, and control. What I love about Rippling, it removes bottlenecks in busy work that slow teams down. Whether you want to run your entire HR, your IT, your finance operation as one, or just fill in the gaps in your software stack, Rippling can do it all. And right now you can get 6 months free when you go to rippling.com/lockedonnba. That's Rippling, rippling.com/lockedonnba. Rippling.com/lockedonnba. You'll get 6 months free. Today's episode is also brought to you by Robinhood. Your ambition just met its match. With Robinhood, you play for the win, not just on game day, every day, locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again, channeling that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. You can trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood Strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. Let's get back to the show.
And buddy, stop trying to dribble the ball.
All right, man. So there were 3 games around the league tonight, aside from the Warriors' 120-110 loss. Orlando snaps the skid that they've had. They beat Charlotte by 16. OKC remains undefeated, along with a couple of other teams, 3 to be exact: the Sixers, the Bulls, and now the San Antonio Spurs, who take down Miami 107-101. And why this ties in to Warriors talk is mainly just because we knew the West was going to be dangerous with teams like Houston, with teams like Oklahoma City, Minnesota, who's up against it early with injuries, as are the Lakers. But Austin Reeves is making sure that they're at least winning some games. Clippers are still the Clippers, despite the Warriors blowing them out a couple nights ago. We didn't even mention Denver. And now you got potentially your MVP of the league, or at least a first-team All-NBA, assuming he stays healthy, and one of the greatest players to ever do it at this age. Don't just act like I'm telling that to you. That's a real life proven fact. 27 points, 18 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 blocks tonight for Victor Wembanyama. And I got to get to these statistics here real quick. Hold on. I have to pull up the Instagram. Now's a good time to tell you to follow me at CWalter22. But through the first 120 games of his career, he has outscored LeBron James by over 50 points. He has out-rebounded Karl Malone by over 300 rebounds. He has outblocked Hakeem Olajuwon by over 111 blocks. And he has made 30 more threes than Steph Curry.
He is, I believe, the only player ever to average... Well, this is after tonight, it's 5 games, but before tonight, it was over any 4-game stretch in NBA history to average 30, 15, and 5 blocks. I don't know what to say about it, honestly.
I can't wait to play him, man. That's what I can say.
The crazy thing is, somehow, when you watch it, I'm not sure the stats tell the whole story. Because if people weren't terrified, he'd have 15 blocks. It's unbelievable the distance he covers. There is just nothing to compare him to other than created players in video games. He's mind-boggling. It's very exciting.
A little EA Sports. It's in the game. You create him in that.
I mean, Kolsky, what it's kind of the way I would think about it is he's kind of like the inverse of Steph, right? Where Steph attracts players out towards the perimeter. Wemby scares anyone that comes within the 3-point line. Anyone that drives in the paint. Exactly. And Wemby is remarkable. And this is something, though, that, I hope that we don't come back to this Bucks game, late in February when the Warriors are trying to climb the standings and say, God, they should have got that one. They shouldn't have dropped it because of how tough the West is going to be. And these are the games that the Warriors have to win, because now seeing the rise of the Spurs with Wemby's performance, and don't forget that they also have De'Aaron Fox coming back off of injury at some point this season. So, these are the games that the Warriors have to win, and you can't drop these. And especially looking at how many road games do they have out of their next 12? It's like 10 out of 12 on the road. And so, this is one that would have been great to win. Then you go down to Indiana, try and beat a Pacers team that's missing Halliburton, right? And so if they could have finished off this road trip 2-0, come back home, play the Suns, go up to Sacramento, those ostensibly are all winnable games. You would have loved to see the Warriors walking out 7-1, right? But now it's just a bad start to the trip, and these are the games that they have to win.
Yeah, you've beaten the Lakers, you've beaten the Nuggets, you've beaten the LA Clippers, and you've beaten the Memphis Grizzlies, 4 teams that were involved in, some sort of play-in last year. And then your losses are to the Bucks without Giannis, and to Portland, who I think is I think they're playing at worst this year. I think they're a 9 or 10 at worst. I think they've already arrived to some degree and could be better with Dame Lillard. But I think they're pesky.
I think it's a little bit instructive, actually, now that you say that out loud, that, Portland and the Bucks without Giannis are kind of similar teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they
And
pick their
run and
spots
gun.
to a degree.
they're the kind of teams that you would have imagined would give one of the oldest teams ever assembled some trouble. They're really, I mean, especially Portland is long defensively and aggressive, and they want to run up and down the floor and shoot threes. And if they get rolling, they can really get you. And look, Portland beat the crap out of them. I think we all believe they should have won tonight despite the struggle, but that is kind of a bit of a red flag moving forward. And it's one that I will be interested to monitor as they play a team like Oklahoma City, which is sort of the supercharged version of that young, fast, aggressive team.
They've always OKC. They've always played OKC pretty well.
They have.
Last few seasons.
They have. It'll be interesting, though. Yeah. Did they ever play him with Jimmy? I don't think they've played OKC with Jimmy Butler. That I remember.
No, they haven't. They haven't.
No, they were 2-1 against them last year without him, and I think they lost one of the games with Curry, I believe, without Curry, but almost won that game. I think with Wiggins and Draymond leading the way, or Wiggins and Kuminga. Final thoughts, fellas. Kolsky, we'll start with you. We'll give Mike a chance to say his goodbyes, and we'll head into the night with the Warriors' next contest up on Saturday.
Oh, sorry. That was a
weird. It was a strange way to end it. It's because I don't know who's next up on the schedule, but it's Indiana. I remembered it last second. That was like the old edge. I'm not going to finish my sentence and hope that he carries on. Anyway, carry on.
Warriors at Pacers, early start on Saturday. I think the biggest thing is, I mean, thankfully it's not a Western Conference game that you blew, but this has to be something that's a bit of a wake-up call for the Warriors, because there are going to be enough challenges getting through this season with the West as absolutely brutal as it is, and also just being an older team, being a team that knows it wants to rest its best players at various times. Like, you really need to take care of business in the games you're supposed to win. Look, when you fly up to Portland on the back half of a back-to-back and that team is running you up and down the floor, I can forgive that a little more than kind of just losing track of yourself on a Thursday night in Milwaukee. So hopefully this is the sort of game that locks this team into the idea that if we want to get where we want to go, the games like the Bucks without Giannis are non-negotiable. And at the very least, we have to show up at a level that is more than what we saw tonight.
Mike, send us home with some bars.
Well, I mean, I'll build off of what Kolsky said there. One, I hope the Warriors go into Indiana and win by, 15, 20 points as a statement win after a loss that they had tonight. But equally, taking a step back and thinking about who this team really is, the Warriors are a good team. I think that they're in that 53, 54, maybe 55 wins over the course of an 82-game season. But the margin for error for this team is not very large, right? They have to play consistent. They have to execute. They have to commit to doing the little things, like grabbing those long defensive rebounds when Ryan Rollins is hucking, so that way AJ Green can't step into a three, right? It's all of those little things, committing to good habits, playing within their system. And if they do that, they give themselves more margin for error. But I think that this is a little bit of a wake-up call. I'll agree with Kolsky, and I hope the Dubs go down to Indiana and they go to the field house and they walk out with the 15-point dub.
Amen, fellas. Good stuff tonight. This is Locked On Warriors, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Final score, Warriors lose.